This is video 2 in a 4-part series that details the medical kidnapping of Amin-Ra and now her newborn child as well.
You have no heart! This is so wrong!
Have both been taken by the state.
I put your onesie. I sleep with it at night like this. And then I go like this to bring me comfort.
If you haven't seen video 1 yet, make sure you go back and watch it so you can get the full story. Okay, in this video, you're going to see just how quickly things spiraled out of control from the moment she showed up at the hospital. Saisha arrived to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, Florida, in the evening of February 25th, 2021. This is after seeing 3 other medical professionals and not being able to get the help she needed. They put her in a suite with her son so she can wait for care. At check-in, this is where the profiling of Saisha takes place. It becomes clear to the hospital that she is a holistic mother, that they are vegan, that she asks a lot of questions. They're also worried about Amin-Ra's weight. They believe his weight is too low. So the combination of those 2 things trigger a call behind the scenes to have CPS come and investigate her. By the next morning, she is blindsided by a visit from a CPS investigator named Danielle McCoy. McCoy comes in, is not warm to the mother at all, does not read her rights, does not tell her why she's going to be investigating her or how things can be used against her or what she can expect. And Saisha is coerced to sign something stating that she will not leave the hospital until the hospital says that it is okay for her to leave. Now, in part 1 of the video series, you saw what happened to the Nikolaev family. Here's one more medical kidnapping case. Marianne Godbaldo didn't want to give her child psych meds.
I did it because I wanted to save my child.
And she ended up in a 10-hour standoff with SWAT teams surrounding her house because she wouldn't come out with her child.
A woman has barricaded herself and her daughter inside their home.
State officials came to the house to remove the daughter from the home.
Godbaldo came to the attention of Child Protective Services after she decided to stop giving her 13-year-old controversial antipsychotic medication.
The mom refuses to give her daughter medication because the drugs caused her to become violent.
The Department of Human Services attempted to take the child from the mother.
Godbaldo barricaded herself in her home, and this lasted 10 hours.
Marianne was hauled up to prison for 5 days.
Ariana is now at a pediatric psychiatric facility where Godbaldo claims she's being abused. Community groups have rallied on behalf of the family, saying parents should decide their children's medical treatment.
At the heart of it is the question, who decides what the best medical care is for a child? The government or the parents?
Now let's travel back to the hospital with Saisha. At this point, there is no leaving. She can't leave for a second opinion. There was no leaving until the doctors said it was okay. Soon after, Saisha had the misfortune of being seen by a very controversial doctor named Dr. Sally Smith. She asked the mother for pictures of Amin-Ra and videos that were showing his milestones. The family has also uploaded those pictures and videos to make available to the public so that we can see. The link to them is below. Sally Smith spent a very small amount of time with her and then diagnosed Amin-Ra with failure to thrive. So Dr. Sally Smith is not only a pediatrician, she is a child abuse specialist. This is a new type of specialist that are in hospitals around the country, and they work directly with CPS, yet many parents have claimed that their lives have been ruined due to false claims made by this exact doctor, Dr. Sally Smith. A USA Today article titled Bad Medicine by Daphne Chen states, the USA Today network reviewed hundreds of Smith's cases in conjunction with a multi-part investigation into Florida's child welfare system. Okay, so Florida is already on everybody's radar. It found more than a dozen instances where charges were dropped, parents were acquitted, or caregivers had credible claims of innocence, yet suffered irredeemable damage to their lives and reputations. I spoke with Jennifer Anderson. She is an attorney representing one of these families who had irredeemable damages done by the accusations of Dr. Sally Smith. The family she represents is the Kowalski family. And here's a little bit about their story. Beta Kowalski is the mother. She brought her daughter Maya into the same hospital, Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, because her daughter was having a severe stomachache. Here's a quote from the Herald Tribune by Daphne Chen Nicole Rodriguez. By the time the preteen left the St. Petersburg facility 3 months later, her condition had deteriorated, her family was shattered, and her mother was dead. Under the lead of Dr. Sally Smith, the hospital accused Maya's mother of a bizarre form of child abuse called Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome by proxy, it basically means that the caretaker is making the child sick by making up the disease or doing something to intentionally make the child sick to get attention. So this is what Dr. Sally Smith accused Beta of, Maya's mother. The thought process behind this allegation that Sally Smith accused the family of is that if you separate the child from the person you think is making them sick, the child should get better. But that is not what they saw here. CPS came, they put in the order for the parents not to be able to see Maya, and Maya's health deteriorated in the hospital. And despite the hospital staff seeing that her health was deteriorating from being isolated and not seeing her mother, they kept on. Here's another heartbreaking quote from this article. Thanksgiving passed, her 11th birthday, Christmas. Maya began to believe that she would never get out. Meanwhile, her mother began to fray under the stress. She spent sleepless nights worrying about her daughter's treatment and days begging for Maya to be transferred to another hospital. Are you ready for this next one? Listen to this. Beta begged Judge Lee Hayworth to end the separation at a January 17th hearing. He refused based on the advice of Dr. Sally Smith and All Children's Hospital. He also denied her request to hug Maya, who was in the courthouse building meeting with a psychologist. She couldn't even hug her child after begging the judge. And less than 48 hours later, Beta died by suicide. This ordeal illustrates the power that doctors and hospitals have to strip children from their families and how the state defers to their judgment. Maya's father, Jack Kowalski, says that he's confident that this case will prove that Smith and her colleagues, they knew that they were making a false child abuse allegation. And this is a trend I'm seeing in Amin-Ra's case as well, despite this mounting evidence that there is no medical neglect here. The hospital and the state are just sticking to their witch hunt of this family. Maybe they thought that if they just admitted that they were wrong, they should have never taken Amin-Ra away, and now her newborn child, that they would be proving that they were guilty. One of the Kowalski's attorneys, she confirmed something similar to me in an email she wrote. I asked her in an email, why is Sally Smith allowed to still work after all of this devastation that her accusations have led to? Here's what she said. I only have a guess as to why she is still on. It is a legal strategy. Letting her go would seem like an admission of guilt, but this is only a guess. What I do know is that Johns Hopkins, All Children's Hospital, and Sally Smith are fighting us with every resource they have. And they have been caught lying, denying her teaching roles, destroying evidence like her cell phone, and hiding evidence, her personal notes in the Kowalski case. Whether that was intentional or accidental is still being determined. There are no shortage of parents trying to get their stories out there about the corruption inside of Johns Hopkins, All Children's Hospital, and with Dr. Sally Smith specifically. But also, this is not just isolated to Florida. This corruption is all over the United States. Now, at this point in the story, you may be like me, wondering, what did Ra look like during this time? I mean, if they've diagnosed him with failure to thrive and she's being imprisoned in the hospital, she's under investigation by CPS, he must have looked like he was just on the brink of death, right? He probably couldn't even hold his head up. That's what I would picture with how drastic what the hospital and CPS is doing. The sheriff's department told me, as well as releasing a statement to Fox News, that they removed the child because it was life or death for Amin-Ra. That's a big statement. In part 3 of this video, you are going to see exactly what Amin-Ra looked like inside of the hospital. His mother was taking videos and documenting her stay there, thank God.
This is Amin-Ra in the hospital with his amazing mother, my wife's side. You see the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This is how bad our son was doing.
It's going to be up on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram. Please make sure you share part 1 and part 2 as far as you can. We need to get this family's story out. Her newborn child was also just taken from her.
My baby is days old, and you're taking my baby away from me.
Loving parents who have never abused their children, there's not even an allegation of abuse, have lost now 2 of their babies to corruption in this system. They need to be reunited, and we need to help them.
All of the evil and greed will not destroy my star seed. My son, you